this video because um, I'm realizing how much that really how much veterans are disenfranchised. There's a reason why so many veterans are homeless, and they're hesitant to get involved with the system. They don't trust the system. There's nothing wrong with us because we're totally disenfranchised. For example, if we're going to talk about this family self-sufficiency that's connected to HUD, and whether you're Section 8 or whether you're MISHTA or HUD VASH, which is actually connected to the other two. If you're a veteran who is rated and is getting compensation, um, there's no rules that pertain to you, so people do whatever they want. Now, this family self-sufficiency program, if you're a renter, there's nothing in the rules, in the new rules and in the applications that refer to veterans. Now, I've seen the manual, and there's, even in the manual though, there's very little. They just recently decided to let veterans compensation um, be included in a calculation for income. Now it's considered unearned income, but it's still income. But the problem is, this is based on case law, a lawsuit. Um, None of their manuals have been updated to deal with veterans compensation. As a matter of fact, one particular program, which is called the program, is called the, what is it, Home to Key or Key to Home or something like that program. This program, if you're a partially rated veteran, now keep in mind, if you're rated, you know, I don't, I'm new to this. I don't know the exact rating percentage when they, fill in um, what is on the boxes that say partially or fully disabled. I forget. But anyway, I don't know the exact percentage when that is filled out. But by medical standards, you could be at 30 or 40%, and your issues are so bad that for Social Security, for Social Security Administration, you're disabled. Now, there's gaps that um, generally you have to do appeals and stuff, and everything gets matched because they will accept each other's decisions most of the time. I mean, sometimes it has to end up in court every now and then, but still, because for this home to key program or whatever it's called, uh, if you're not receiving the maximum amount for Social Security, which there's no such thing, your Social Security is based on what you paid in. There's no set amount that can't go over that. It depends on what people have paid in their employment. How many points have they achieved? And so there's not really a maximum amount. Now there is for VA compensation. That's 100% rating. 100% rating. I mean, you could say the maximum is 100% rating plus a spouse, plus a couple of children. That's the maximum rating. Um, oh no, I forgot. Then if you add parents that live with that veteran, that's the maximum rating, which is like what 3,900 or 3,700, something like that. But then again, if you had a spouse, um, three or four children, and then one or two parents, it goes up to about another $300 to $400. That's technically the maximum. Um, there may be other kickers, other uh, allowances, for very specific veterans with very specific issues, but those are pretty rare. But now Social Security, there isn't really it's based on what people pay in. Just because nobody has ever paid in, such and such amount doesn't mean that it's never going to happen because that person is the maximum. There's no such thing. It just depends on what you paid in. But anyway, um, so this so if you're a partially rated veteran, um, maybe you're on SSI and you're also on veterans compensation, which you can do that. Um, I don't know the exact criteria if you're 100%, if you could draw full SSI. I mean, Social Security, yes. If you've got the points in, you could draw. SSI, I'm not sure about that. That's more, SSI is kind of picky. But anyway, if you're a partially rated veteran, let's say 50%, you don't qualify for the home to key program because you're not at the full Social Security um, disability level. And according to the VA, I mean, I'm not sure if 50 is permanently disabled or if it's considered partial. I'm not sure. But so veterans who are not 100% absolutely disabled, um, they can't make use of this program either. And even the ones that do, that are 100% and are fully rated 100%, um, still their books concerning MISHDA's programs, their books don't talk about veterans. There's very little about us in there. Very little. Again, I've read the manuals, and it seems to be that they're getting away with the gray area because I saw one paragraph in the manual that said in the beginning of a veteran's compensation case, when that veteran is initially rated and they receive their back pay and they start receiving their benefits, that it gives the the caseworker, the family self-sufficiency program caseworker, and the housing agency caseworker, it gave them the ability to choose to hold off and delay for a month or two before that veteran would start paying their share, which is the same thing that actually they do with Section 8. There was a time in my life when I did Section 8, and I was working at the time, and when it became time for me to start paying my rent, my portion, um, my worker actually said, you know what? She said, since you're just getting a pay raise right now, she said, I'm going to give you 2 months and you save money away. You can even do the family self sufficiency program if you want to. But what I'm doing is letting you save some money and put it away before you start paying your rent, a higher amount. That's a much higher. I think it would have been like, I think 10 or 20% of the rent I was to pay. But she said you could put some money away, do something to invest in your family and yourself, and then you can start paying and you can do the self sufficiency, family self sufficiency program if you want to, because you they escrow your rent funds that you pay. They go into a savings account that you don't touch until you leave the program. Um, but I mean, which is helpful in a way, but then in another way, it's not because 'cause you can't touch the money until you leave the program, and because the program is so controlling, you can't really go in any direction. Um, I mean, I can see the only benefit to some of these rules would be if somebody is actually renting a house that, or they got a mortgage or whatever that they're going to buy. I mean, then I think that a lot of rules would apply to them to be helpful. But if you're not in that situation, they tend to not be helpful. Um, but certainly, Section 8, despite around here, it's very hands off. They don't want to get involved in um, if tenants are being abused or if there's racism going on or if there's a lot of crime in a complex, they won't get involved. They'll say, we're not here for that. We're here to make sure the vouchers are signed. Um, so they don't get involved in anything at all. Actually, none of them do. Neither does Mishda or Becca. None of those agencies will get involved. But my experience with Saginaw Housing Commission, considering that their program is very evolved and it helps people, and there's more chances for people to save money and get on their feet. Because my opinion, this family self-sufficiency program, yeah, I don't know because it has so many rules. There's so many rules to it, and it just seems like people they're paying their rent, and it's going into. I mean, it's good that it's going into an account. Um, if their wages increase, but I mean, still, to me, it seems it only benefits them a little. You if you do this family self-sufficiency program, you only benefit a little. Yeah, if your wages go up, you're still paying your rent, but instead of increasing your money from your rent that goes to paying your rent, that increase in your wages goes into the escrow account. I mean, I don't know. I would revamp the program. It's just too, it's, I don't know, how could I put it? I just feel that it doesn't help people enough. And, the ton of ambiguities, it gives workers an opportunity to be malicious. And the fact that veterans, like I said before, a lot of their rules, if you're only partially rated, less than, I think it's 75. I think when you hit 75, you're considered permanently disabled. I think it's 75. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, please correct me by all means. I'm not going to jump in the web right now and research exactly what percentage is, you know, is permanently and fully disabled. Um, but I think it's 75%. Once you hit that, you're automatically permanently disabled, which opens up very special kind of indemnity that the VA will pay to you while you're receiving compensation, or right before it. I forget exactly. It opens up funds for hospital stays. I mean, it opens up a lot of stuff once you hit 75 to 100. But anyway, so if you're not at 100% and you're only receiving 30 or 40% rating and that level of compensation, there's no place for you in this program. Um, I'm trying to get into the program because I feel that my rent that I pay, it should go into a bank account to invest in me. Um, that's the way I look at these vouchers. I mean, I don't know. That's just the way I look at it. The idea is for people to be on a voucher longer than a couple of years. That's supposed to be rare. And that may be somebody that's permanently disabled and they have very little, Social Security income, and so the voucher, keeps them a little bit solvent, a little. Um, but someday we'll have to deal with people like that because 10 to 15 years, the trust fund's going to have some serious issues, which is going to affect the markets. That I can see a lot of stuff going down in 10 to 15 years. A lot of stuff because it's going to have a ripple effect across the world. Not just here, it's going to affect our markets. It's going to affect oil. It's going to affect other commodities. I mean, because you're talking about a significant portion of the population now, their income is going to be reduced, and for some people, it's going to be on shaky ground if they're going to continue to receive it the rest of their life. So yeah, that's going to cause a heck of a crisis. It's coming. It's coming. Because people are sitting on their hands right now in those nice cushion seats up in the Capitol. Nothing's being done about what's coming. But anyway, this isn't about that. But so these programs, they're not really beneficial for us. It puts us in a really bad predicament because you have very little income, and then you have to start paying your rent when you have very little income. You got to pay your 30%. It's required of everybody in the program, and that's another argument I have against these programs. If somebody only has partial income or they're on welfare, why are they paying the same percentage of rent that somebody who has a pension, they're a retiree, or somebody that has a job? And I mean, even if you have a job, big difference working on the floor in Wall Street and being a clerk in a party store, a small mom and pop party store. There's a big difference in income. But why are both paying, the same percentage? Yeah, I don't know who thinks up. Well, I know who thinks up these programs. One percenters who they want to feel better, and for middle class people who want to make an impact on the world, and they think the biggest, most productive, most soul fulfilling way to make an impact on the world is to be a social worker. In the few years they do it, and then they go from their beat up Chevy they drove to finish their grad and their finish their undergrad and grad. Then they go to their brand new Chevy or their Chrysler or their nice Ford or Mazda or Mercedes because they've made it big time now. Now they're a big time social worker. Maybe they'll get employed by government, city or state or federal. Shoot, yeah, they're making it big time now. Big money. Um, Similar thing that happens to people that go to medical school. Only a small portion of people who go to medical school and finish every single year and go through their USMLEs, and they maintain that idealism, that burning desire to heal, to harm nothing, and save all. Only a few. But the same thing apparently happens in social work. But anyway, so yeah, these programs are kind of problematic, really. Um, and us veterans, especially us guys in the middle of our cases, and I was told by somebody, yeah, maybe you can, join the program if you're job hunting. I'm like, I'm disabled. I'm not going to go job hunting. I'll run my own business, that I can do medically that doesn't make my conditions worse. And it'll probably be part time until I hire people or until I find a way to do it full time with medical issues. But it's not that easy. If people could go out and just the manner that I've heard people around saying, talk about, oh yeah, just get a job. I mean, your Social Security might go down a little bit. Social Security is not a retirement fund. It's because you're disabled. SSI is for those people that don't have enough work credits but are disabled. It's not a retirement, it's not a pension. This is a fundamental problem in this country. People think it's a retirement. It's not. That's why the trust fund is going bankrupt because people have that attitude. Oh yeah, you want to change in your voucher? Well, while your disability's going, why don't you just get a part-time job? They're disabled. It kind of defeats the purpose. Disability, Social Security is not a pension. Or, I mean, Social Security SSI is not a pension. It's for those people that don't have enough to draw the pension. They don't have enough points. So, anyway, it's kind of problematic because it's not a retirement fund. SSI is not. Um, so, anyway, when people have the attitude of they want to shift something in their voucher just to work more, um, I don't know. I just think this attitude is really being ignored and let to flourish. The attitude of you're on Social Security or SSI and you get a part-time job. Oh, I work under the table. Still, you know, And I mean, and if you're in the beginning, of your case and of getting your, you know, one of the things about this process, it's not always so much financial. It's about getting all the right resources so you're rated or so you get, some kind of social security so it opens better medical care for you. So some of those issues, if they can't be healed, maybe they can get, better so you'll have a better life. They may not be healed completely, they may always be there, but maybe your standard of living will go up a little bit. Your quality of life will go up a little bit. It's not a retirement fund, so you can draw, $2,000 a month SSI, and then go work as a manager of IHOP or manager of a Dollar General and draw those wages while you're drawing your full Social Security. I mean, it's just not right. I mean, not Social Security. I mean your SSI. Many times on Social Security, you can work. You actually can because the certain coding in Social Security is a retirement fund. So if people want to work, they can. But yeah, I'm just seeing more and more how veterans and people that are not, they're in the middle of their disability case, and maybe they're not at their maximum medical improvement, um, being pushed to go get jobs because they have to pay so much of their rent. Um, Not only can it harm them, to the honest people, it can harm them, but it could get them in trouble too. Because if the state saw them, saw that guy that's supposed to have a bad back and bad knees, doing unloading cargo trucks and then putting stuff up on those aluminum shelves at every McDonald's that are all over the back room, and he's putting big stuff up there, big cases of stuff. I think that's kind of problematic. He's being pushed to commit fraud. So, I know there's really some issues. I think these programs need a lot of rethinking in many different ways, but definitely in how they treat the veteran. When people are in the beginning stages of getting rated and they're below 50 or 75%, you're not really making that much money. So to treat somebody like their very small compensation income is, oh, yep, yeah, you got income right there. You're going to pay your part of the rent. I don't think it's right. All it's going to do is keep them in poverty. That's the difference between the less than 50% rated and the 75% uprated individuals. And then you got the guys from 50 to 75. Those are the guys they're in their own little thing, their own little world. Because they've come so far, now they just got to find ways to, you know, either improve or get up to 75 so they can open more help for issues. You know what I mean? There's always the issues of once you get past 30 or 40%, it means you have some issues. You have some issues that they're going to affect you, you know? And, people shouldn't have to go around pretending they're John Wayne and not getting help medically and admitting that maybe probably weightlifting is not a good idea if you have rheumatoid arthritis, plus you're starting to get, let's say, asthma because you were in Afghanistan for 6 years. Probably not the best idea to also go get a job at Walmart when you just started your rating process and you just started your disability case for SSI because you're in the military for 10 years, so you don't have the points necessary to uh, to do a Social Security retirement. Let's say you're 7 points short, so you have to work for 4 years full time somewhere. Um, so I think that some of these programs are just really problematic. And for those people that fall in between, you're going to be in bondage. The bondage of financial, I mean, I wouldn't say it's financial captivity because the way we define financial captivity in our home is people intentionally sabotaging your efforts. Intentionally. This is irregardless of program rules. Some programs are just designed by people that absolutely never had that experience. They never lived it. Like some of the people that write these manuals for the housing programs or for a social worker with MDHHS, some of this stuff is written by people that never lived this stuff as an experience. They never had to worry about commodities because their refrigerator's getting empty. They never had to worry about, oh yeah, we had a bad experience. The refrigerator broke, so we lost $70 in meat. But it's still a week and a half before we get our food stamps. They've never had to live that kind of stuff. They never had to live of, oh yeah, I got a job now, but I can't eat with everybody else, so I gotta make a lunch every day. But yet that stuff was supposed to be for the kids for school. They've never lived this stuff, which is why some of the programs they don't help you. They seem to hold you in bondage. And then if you got people, that are part of some ideological extremist group, then they might keep you captive in addition to being in bondage by their program that was designed by somebody that never even had to go and work the grunt job in high school or college because somebody always provided for them. These are the people writing the manuals. That's the problem.